Rick Marks here. Welcome to another episode. I wanted today, in the spirit of Easter, look at, the people of that time and looking at their mindset. When we look at Judas, or we look at the kings during that window, and did they act out of an element of fixed mindset and inferiority, thinking they're playing a game on the same platform and level? Did they feel threatened by, an uprising, I suppose? And how, rather than the growth mindset and seeing potential and thinking about opportunity, I guess, and how to platform off that and launch into bigger and greater things, they acted out of a element of insecurity and fear, I suppose. And when I was thinking around this, like Judas, for example, it came to mind. And I guess I can't make I can't question him as such around it, but I'd be curious as to whether or not, like, him selling like Jesus out and all that, if that's what you believe, but just looking at that from a story perspective, even, was that because he thought that would get him ahead? Did he act on that because he had that fixed mindset? Did he have all the data and the knowledge and the information to make a good decision at the time? Or did he just seek an opportunity? And I've talked about it in a number of other videos around like jumping jobs and stuff. If there is validity behind why you've done what you've done, fantastic. If you've just chopped and changed jobs because you can't stick at something, or you can't see something through the hard times, you've aborted mid-flight, then that's not going to stand to help you in the long run. And I guess it's understanding we're all growing as individuals, as humans. Right from, it's not just a schooling window. And when you look back at that window of time, in time, schooling really kind of wasn't there. You learnt from your community, you learnt from your culture, you learnt from the people around you, and you grew up either, and this is where I guess castes and family lineage really was a big part, because if you were a farming family, you grew up working the farm and you either inherited or you started a farm of your own. And as the industrialized and the schooling system came in, and we structurized everything, we've kind of now made it so you don't have to stay in that method anymore, and you can become essentially whatever you want to become. But when you actually look at the skilling, and that's that underlying factor of you got your soft skills, and I think that you can develop any skills you want. And again, I've talked about this in a number of them. The skills themselves are transposable across industries. They're transposable across, just because you're good at troubleshooting doesn't mean you have to stick in that channel. You can go across industries and utilize the skills that you develop there in another field. And I think often we get ourselves stuck in a mindset that we're only able to stay in that lane, when really we can change lanes. It may mean that we have to go backwards in, say, pay, means that things may have to alter to accommodate. But back in that time, I don't know whether the only way, say, Judas felt he was going to get ahead for his family, etc., was to get paid money to sell out Jesus in that situation. And yeah, it's just an interesting one. I'd venture quotes and comments if you've got a similar thinking, or you've got a different way of thinking. But I've recently looked at that and gone, maybe that was a fixed mindset. Maybe he thought the ceiling was there, and the only way he was going to break that ceiling and do well for his family and provide was to do that decision. Whether he gave it enough thought about, consequences and the big picture. And that's where often I think I've in the past, even today's, seen individuals that jump the gun without thinking out worst case, best case, the whole situation, the way it could play out, and whether or not that decision is the wisest and best decision for them, or if they're just acting out of, I guess, spontaneity. And I've learned, again, spontaneous decisions are generally not good. And that's a sales methodology that a lot of the time it's putting the pressure, it's turning up the heat, it's getting you to think that this deal is limited time, you've got to jump now, you've got to jump now, you've got to jump now. But I don't like working on other people's time. So for me personally, that does not work, because I will make the decision when I'm ready. And if I feel that there's an urgency, I will validify that. Otherwise, that's your agenda and that's your rush, because you need to get that sale or whatever you need on your end, but that doesn't work for me. And that's not going to help me and my family in my big picture. So I thought that was good in the spirit of Easter, off the back of the weekend. And I trust you've all had a great Easter. That was a thinking that I'd had around the kings back then, and even Judas, a lot of them, and how they were thinking, where they were growth mindset. You know, Jesus did have a lot of his apostles and stuff who were very growth mindset. They could see potential, they could see opportunity. And do we take that mindset, or are we the ones that feel threatened by progress, feel threatened by others that may be doing better than us or smarter than us? Or, you know, again, like I've said, we're all playing a different game. So if you're feeling threatened because my game of hockey is, you know, doing better than your game of football, then coming over to try and bring your football into my hockey is not gonna work. So you kind of can't see each other on the same levels, and it's not a higher than or a lower than level. It's just a completely different game. We're not even talking about leagues, we're just talking about just different games completely. So yeah, think about, you know, something to toss around your head. It's something that I've slept on a couple of nights now, and been trying to just I guess venture that thought process out of back then. What was that drive? What was in it for Judas? Was there a gameplay that he had in his head, or did he jump the gun without really thinking out his plan? Thanks for watching. Enjoy the day. Have an awesome week, and you'll see me 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bye for now.